Network show right here on 910 a.m. the Superstation of Future Radio. Hey, I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Monday, February 22nd, 2021, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well today. It's been a very, very busy day, and I'm getting ready to teach my Tuesday class, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. So we have the Tuesday class, Tuesday, February 23rd, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then I'll be here for the show. And our guest speaker for our Tuesday class is going to be Dr. David Imhotep, author of the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. Okay, so if you haven't registered for that class yet, we'll post a link here so you can be sure to register for that class. You don't want to miss it. All right, so we had a great show Sunday. It's a jam-packed show, and we have that broadcast re-airing on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. I posted an article a couple of days ago dealing with Stevie Wonder. And Stevie Wonder, in an interview with Oprah Winfrey recently, said that he is moving to Ghana. And he cites racism in America, police brutality, things like that, as the reason why he is permanently moving to Ghana. Okay, so we'll talk some about that. And he has the means to do it. You know, I hear a lot of people saying we need to move back to Africa. We need to move back to Africa. And I'm not against that, but that's not the solution to racism in America. 49 million African Americans are not going to move back to Africa. I'm all for, repatriation. It has its purpose, but that's not going to, that's not the solution to racism in America, just so everybody understands. And then also, I've known people that moved back, and, two of my teachers, Dr. Lyndon Jeffries and Professor James Small, they're part owners of a hotel in Ghana. I'm all for that as well. But usually when I hear people say, we need to move back to Africa, usually they're still here. So oftentimes it's just a wish. But it has its purpose as well. But at the same time, if you listen to the show we did February 21st on the anniversary of Malcolm's assassination, I had Dr. David Imhotep on, author of the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence, this book here. So, at the same point, he's like, well, why should we have to leave? This was our land stolen from us. We were here in this land before Native Americans even came into existence. So I'm all for having relationships with Africa, but it's like, well, why should we be the ones that leave? Last hired, first fired. Okay, so all right. Now, also yesterday, on yesterday's show, we talked about the news conference that happened Saturday, February 20th, in relationship to the assassination of Malcolm X, and new evidence that came out, it was a deathbed confession from a former African American New York City Police Department officer named Raymond Wood. And he talked about infiltrating Malcolm's organization and being involved in helping facilitate the assassination of Malcolm. But it appears that it was, I saw a press conference and it said that he didn't know that Malcolm was the target, but he talked about his involvement in infiltrating Malcolm's organization, the Organization of Afro-American Unity, as well as the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, and CORE, Congress of Racial Equality. So BlackAmericaWeb.com has an article dealing with how Malcolm X family demands reopening his murder investigation. Alleges NYPD and FBI played a role. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. There's a statement from the New York Police Department. So this is an article from February 22nd from BlackAmericaWeb.com. We talked about this a lot on our Sunday show, so go back and watch the Sunday show, February 21st. But then on MSNBC, they had a good segment dealing with the daughters of Malcolm X and Dr. King. Daughters of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X reflect on fight for equality. Daughters of Dr. King and Malcolm X reflect on fight for equality. They call themselves sister friends, joined by their father's legacies. And Tremaine Lee from MSNBC spoke with one of the daughters of Dr. King as well as Malcolm. So we'll share that excerpt with you. Also, Bernice King and Ayasa Shabazz. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Then, big story came out today. Everybody share this broadcast on your social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in also. Be sure to register for my online course, 8-week, 16-hour online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Okay, so next class will be Tuesday, February 23rd. Our guest speaker will be Dr. David Imhotep, author of the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. We just posted the link here. Again, it's regularly $130 on sale, $80. You can watch from around the world, and you can go back and watch the classes over and over again as well. Okay, so the news came out from the U.S. Supreme Court today that the jig is up for Donald Trump. The Supreme Court allows release of Trump's tax returns to New York prosecutor. Supreme Court allows release of Trump's tax returns to New York prosecutor. Everybody got a big kick out of that one because Donald Trump has just been stalling the release of his tax returns. And this is going to prosecutor Cy Vance there in Manhattan. We're going to talk some about that. Because that's a big development. And I've said before, you know, Donald Trump is threatening to run again in 2024. Donald Trump is not going to run in 2024. We haven't seen the indictments come for him. The indictments are going to come for him. The lawsuits, criminal indictments, civil cases are coming for him. And when his tax returns are released, it's going to be all over for him. When his tax returns are released, it's going to be all over for him. And there's no way he'll be able to run in 2024 and not release his tax returns because what he's going to say is, I'm still under audit. And people are going to say, well, wait a second. You said in 2015, 9 years ago, that you were under audit and couldn't release your tax returns. So you trying to tell me you've been under audit for 9 years? You can't release tax returns from the 80s, from the 90s, from the 2000s, from 2010, 2011, 2012. You're under audit 9 years later? What have you been doing? What type of criminal enterprise are you running that in 2015 you said you couldn't release your tax returns because you're under audit? And that's not even a reason why you can't release your tax returns. That's just something you made up. There's nothing legal. The IRS doesn't say you can't release your tax returns if you're under audit. That's just something you made up. And then you're going to say in 2024 you can't release your tax returns and you've been under audit for 9 years? So I already said he ain't running for it again. He is just trying to stay relevant, and he's trying to block people out who want to run. Lil Marco, Lion Flying Ted Cruz. He's trying to block people out who want to run in 2024, and he's trying to keep a death grip on the Republican Party. He ain't gonna run again. Okay, that's all. That's all there is to it. Now Donald Trump Jr. may run, but if Donald Trump Jr. runs again, it's going to be all over for him because we know how corrupt your daddy was, and the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. So Donald Trump Jr. is going to be exposed as well if he hasn't already been indicted, is not already in jail or prison, what have you. Okay, so we'll talk some about Donald Trump. Supreme Court allows release of Trump tax returns to New York prosecutor. Then there's a story dealing with a business school seeks to remove blackamoors crest. A business school seeks to remove blackamoors crest. Now, you know, we talk about the Moors in my online class, and if you see a lot of the broadcasts that I do, I take stories from the news and show you how it relates to history. And this is one as well. So there's a coat of arms at the Reed Business School in the UK, and it has the heads of 4 African slaves who were Moors. And the Moors, the Africans, go all throughout Europe. They're in Spain, Portugal, Italy. They go into Sicily. They go into Czechoslovakia. They go into France. They go into Germany, Austria, England. Bridgerton, the series on Netflix that I haven't seen yet. Okay, I don't have time to watch all this stuff. I'm gonna watch it because it ties into history, but I don't watch a whole lot of series. Okay, because I don't have time to tune in each week. But Bridgerton, that takes place during the 1700s in England, they portray Queen Charlotte Sophia. Queen Charlotte Sophia was the wife to King George III. King George III was the king of England that the 13 colonies are revolting against during the American Revolution, 1775 to 1783. And his wife, Queen Charlotte Sophia, was of African descent on her mother's side of the family. She was of African Moorish ancestry on her mother's side of the family. So this is history. And you'll see articles like this tying in to history. If you saw our show yesterday with Dr. David Imhotep, he was our guest on the show, and he'll be a guest speaker in our class Tuesday. I talked about the story from 2011 out of Egypt, where there were 17 pyramids found buried underneath Egypt. There's a satellite uses there's a satellite about 435 miles above Earth. It uses infrared technology to see underground, and they discovered 17 pyramids buried underneath the Earth. Okay, so you'll see all these stories related to history in the headlines. We're going to deal with this on the other side of the break. List to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Hi, I'm Joel Wilson, President and CEO of JCW Computer Consulting, LLC, a technology implementation firm with over 20 years of satisfying customers. We offer a full spectrum of industry top-tier branded services. We are an authorized partner or reseller for Lenovo, Zoom, T-Mobile, Microsoft 365 and Surface tablets, Google Workspace, Acer, Asus, Samsung, PCmatic security software, and many more. Our online store features laptops, Chromebooks, computers, printers, accessories, and software. Businesses, take advantage of our free 1-hour Zoom tech consultation and know we offer top nationwide high-speed internet service providers, voice over IP, and cellular phone services. Home users, don't miss our current in-stock Chromebook inventory. Please visit us at jcwcc.com or call 215-879-6701.
For 25 years, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum has carried on the rich legacy of the Black Museum movement in America by showcasing original artifacts of the Black experience at colleges, universities, K-12 schools, corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most traversed Black History mobile exhibit in American history. Dr. Khalid El Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and he is a highly sought-after public speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum studies, hip-hop, and race relations. Dr. Khalid was named among the change makers for NBC Universal's Erase the Hate campaign and listed as one of the 100 men of distinction for Black enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Hip Hop Archive on the campus of Western Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is currently scheduling in-person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalid Al Hakim directly at 313-645-4197, 313-645-4197, or visit their website at blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. That's blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email him at bhistory101@yahoo.com, bhistory101@yahoo.com.
Are you getting ready for fall or winter? We have the solution for all seasonal clothing needs. Kemeticwear.com is the go-to online source for Kemetic African fashion and lifestyle products with a contemporary twist. We're committed to offering unique styles reflecting our African heritage. Kemeticwear.com is inspired by KemeticScribes.com to influence our people in learning and showing pride. Please visit our website at Kemeticwear.com.
Digital Dandelion's Technical Solutions works with businesses like yours to create an operations manual for your business, which is something many businesses don't have. According to AARP, more than 30% of small business owners are over 50 years old. Many business owners want to retire by selling their businesses or by passing their businesses on to their children. However, according to Forbes Investment Advisors, many retiring owners' attempts to sell their businesses for retirement fail. You cannot sell your business without a business manual. Your children also cannot inherit your business because there is no way to run it. Your business does not have to die when you leave. Their business Bible products will give you the tools you need for a thriving business that can make you money even after you retire. Are you looking at increasing your business's annual revenue? Digital Dandelions can help you make at least $100,000 in annual revenue and expand your business. Speak with them today about solidifying your business. Visit digitaldandelions.com today and get a free 30-minute consultation. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. Here I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Monday, February 22nd, 2021, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. Okay, we're broadcasting on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and on our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. How's everybody doing? We got Erica Watson, TK Sweeney, Willie, Sharon, Toller, Alexander, just a few of the people watching us on Facebook and YouTube, okay? Hey, I want to remind you that I'll be speaking Wednesday, February 24th. Wednesday, February 24th, I'll be on a virtual Black History Month celebration for Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, the Lambda Rho Zeta chapter in Pontiac, Michigan. It's Wednesday, February 24th, 2021, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They have a panel discussion. I'll be on the panel, so you know it's going to be good. So I'll be dropping some history as well. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have the link there where you can sign up. It's also on my personal Facebook page, and it's through Zoom. And they have you register for it, but you can watch through Zoom, and it's free, okay? And they are accepting donations as well. So shout out to Marnice Chris Jackson of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, who invited me to be on this panel. Okay, so let's jump into this here. I sent you the clips, Shakita. On the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his actions, because the mind, or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we do a number of different topics here: current events, history, politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. We're going to talk about relationships and love and sex more often. We really going to have to do that. You know, I'm not saying why, but it's, yeah. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter. Also, visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Sign up there as well. You can donate to the African History Network. You support us, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, and also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. So that helps us keep broadcasting 6 nights a week. Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. And we're still on Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so let's jump into this first story here. So Stevie Wonder, okay, I saw this article first from BusinessInsider.com. BusinessInsider.com had an article about Stevie Wonder moving to, he says he's going to move to Ghana. Okay. And I've known people who've relocated to Africa. Some of them it worked out for them, others it didn't. Now it's going to work out for Stevie. I mean, he's got the money. You don't have to, he don't have to figure out where he's going to live, anything like that. He doesn't have to figure out, he doesn't have to try to go get a job or anything. He'll be fine. Okay. But there's a good article from BusinessInsider.com, and also CNN has one as well. And he was interviewed by Oprah Winfrey recently. And if we look at this article, it says he said in a recent appearance on the Oprah Winfrey series, The Oprah Conversation, that he explained that he is fed up with the racial injustice in America and would rather relocate to a place where he will be respected and feel welcome. Now, everybody, I think we can all concur. I posted about this on our fan page. You got something like 6,000 likes, something crazy. I think we can all we can all agree on this. Okay, we can all agree on this. And for Stevie Wonder to say something like this, who has privilege, who has wealth, who doesn't have to worry about a whole lot, so to speak. He doesn't have to worry about a whole lot happening to him. For him to say something like this, it has to be really acute. So he explained that he is fed up with racial injustice in America and would rather relocate to a place where he will be respected and feel welcome. Now, he said he cannot watch his great-grandchildren beg for respect and recognition. He said he cannot watch his great-grandchildren beg for respect and recognition. He said, I want to see the nation smile again, and I want to see it before I move to Ghana, he told Oprah. He said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to move permanently to Ghana. I want to see the nation smile again, and I want to see it before I move to Ghana. Okay. So he said, because I don't want to see my children, I don't want to see my children's children have to say, oh, please like me, please respect me, please value me. He said, what kind of sugar honey iced tea is that? Okay. I don't think I've ever heard Stevie Wonder cuss before. Okay. He probably has to be pretty mad to cuss. I mean, the guy that's saying, I just called to say I love you, and a number of different songs. He must be pretty upset to curse. But I mean, I think once again, sustained. I don't think anybody can disagree with him. All right. He added, I want the world to get better. I want us to get beyond this place. I want us all to go to the funeral of hate. I want us all to go to the funeral of hate. That's what I want. Now, this is not the first time the 70-year-old Stevie Wonder said that he will relocate to Ghana. In 1994, Stevie Wonder said he wanted to move from Los Angeles to Ghana. Now, let me just say this, having Donald Trump as president for 4 years, that'll make anybody want to move. I mean, anybody African-American, unless maybe you Herschel Walker or, Burgess Owen or Clarence Thomas or, what's that fool's name? It'll come to me in just a minute. He testified at the reparations hearing. Unless you one of them, anybody with some sense, it'll make you want to leave. Having 4 years of Donald Trump will make you want to leave. Okay. But as I've said before, it's like, before we do all that, it's like, wait a second now. Why should we be the ones to leave? This was our land stolen from us. See, this is why when you know, every now and then, if you've been listening to the show for maybe 2 or 3 years, every now and then you get somebody calling in of a lighter persuasion who talks about illegal immigrants voting, or they talk about illegal immigrants here in this country. So then I have to drop some history on them, because I say, okay, we can talk about illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants. We can talk about that. We're going to start first with white undocumented immigrants. We're going to talk about people. We're going to talk about white people still in this entire country. We're going to talk about manifest destiny and white people trying to take over the entire North American continent. Okay, we're going to talk about the Mexican-American War of 1846 to 1848, which is basically over a territory dispute because the U.S. wanted land for Mexico. And it ends with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, and the U.S. gets California, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, all from Mexico. All that was Mexican territory. Okay, so we can have this conversation, but we're going to start with white illegal immigrants. Okay, and we're going to deal with the theft of land from African people and Native Americans. We can talk about the Louisiana Purchase of 1803. And the U.S. gets something like 828,000 square miles of land for less than 3 cents an acre. And they buy it from the French. But the French stole the land from Native Americans and Africans who were here. So what right did what right did France have to sell the land to the U.S.? The U.S. carved out about 15 states out of that land that they got from France. What right did France have to the land? So if you want to talk about illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants, we can have that conversation. This ain't going to turn out the way you think it's going to turn out. So, we get those calls every now and then. All the calling numbers, 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. But we haven't done one like that. The guy called in a couple months ago. He said it was illegal immigrants voting for Hillary Clinton. That's why she got 3 million more votes than Trump. I'm like, come on, man. Get out of here with that nonsense. But, all right, let's continue here. So Stevie Wonder, we'll go back to Stevie Wonder. So in 1994, Stevie Wonder said he wanted to move from Los Angeles to Ghana. Now, speaking at the International Association of African American Music in Washington, at the time, back in 94, Stevie Wonder said he fell in love with Ghana during visits. Stevie Wonder said, quote, "There's more of a sense of community there," end quote. Okay, now, sustained. I can't disagree with that, because they were able to maintain their culture and language. And now, you go to Ghana now, you will see probably more white images of Jesus in Ghana than you will here at a black church or black churches across the country. There's a little culture shock there, but they still have maintained the African culture, so to speak, language, different things like that. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of images of white Jesus over there. So hey, but that's the legacy of colonialism. That's the legacy of colonialism. So Stevie Wonder is considered one of the most successful songwriters and musicians of all time. We definitely know that. So it's going to be interesting how this turns out when it happens. Hopefully, I hope he makes a documentary about this. Now, we know that you remember in 2019, there was an effort by many African Americans to reconnect to Africa. That was the year of return. Boris Kojo, who is half, he's from, if I remember correctly, Ghana. He's half Ghanaian. Actor Boris Kojo, married to Nicole Ari Parker. He got involved with the Ghanaian government, and there was a number of African American actors and actresses that went to Ghana in for Christmas, December 2018, then going into New Year's 2019. We talked about that here on the show, there was a article from face-to-faceafrica.com. Okay, and they have some really good articles. I'm going to reach back out to them again. I talked to them before. They have some really good articles. We share their articles on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, the African History Network. But if we here's one article here, and I did some broadcasts dealing with this. Why are all the black celebrities in Ghana, okay, for the holidays? Let's look at this here. Let's go back in time. Look at this article. Let's close out some of these ads here. Why all the black celebs chose Ghana for the holidays. Now, this is from January 2nd, 2019. January 2nd, 2019. Why all the black celebs chose Ghana for the holidays. And this was written by Francis Akalbe for face-to-faceafrica.com. So we see Boris Kojo, and we see Jaman Hansu, Michael Jai White, Anthony Anderson, and Jendana. So the Christmas and New Year holidays in Ghana have been very memorable and historic. Quite a handful of stars in the diaspora trooped into the West African nation to spend the season, and their activities on social media proved they had the time of their lives. This was primarily made possible by Ghanaian German actor Boris Kojo, who pledged to visit his father's home country during the festive season with some of his notable African-American celebrity buddies. Okay. And this tied into the year of return, and they were reconnecting to Africa. Okay. They were reconnecting to Africa, reconnecting to West Africa. So the decision to bring dozens of celebrities to Ghana follows a request from the government of Ghana in line with its Year of Return 2019 program, welcoming African Americans and the black diaspora to return to the country where their ancestors were kidnapped and enslaved in America some 400 years ago. So it's 1619 to 2019. So this was a whole campaign taking place to reconnect. Okay, so check out this article here from face-to-faceafrica.com. Why all the black celebs chose Ghana for the holidays. And they had a few different articles dealing with that. There's video of them in Ghana, the different ceremonies, and they talk about how emotional it was, et cetera. So there's something really, really good that took place there. Check that out. Okay, so let's continue here. There's also, so there's a number of outlets that reported on that dealing with Stevie Wonder. So I want to see how that turns out, and hopefully Stevie may become an ambassador. He may become an unofficial ambassador, well, official ambassador for Ghana, but to really reach out to African Americans and help us reconnect to our ancestry. All right, let's continue here. I want to go to this next story. Next, we'll go to dealing with Malcolm X. Okay. We know February 22nd was the anniversary of Malcolm's assassination, 56th anniversary of Malcolm X's assassination. And we talked about here on the show new evidence that came out. There was a press conference that took place Saturday, February 20th. And Benjamin Crump and two other attorneys provided a deathbed confession, a letter from Ray Wood, former New York City Police Department officer who's African American, who was tasked with infiltrating Malcolm's organization of Afro-American Unity, and tasked with infiltrating the Black Panther Party for self-defense, as well as CORE, Congress of Racial Equality. Okay, we're going to go to clip 2, Shakita, from CBS News. Let's go to this clip here. Okay, so Ray Wood, well, just play it when it starts playing. Take it off mute. Ray Wood was an undercover police officer at the time, and he confessed to the deathbed declaration letter that the New York City Police Department and the FBI conspired to undermine the legitimacy of the civil rights movement and its leaders, Attorney Benjamin Crump stated. Okay, you got the emailed you the clips. You have them. Clip number 2. CBS.
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump today to reveal what they say is evidence proving the NYPD and FBI conspired to have him assassinated. The civil rights activist and prominent figure in the Nation of Islam was killed at the Audubon Ballroom in February 1965. 3 men were convicted, but over the years, there have been conspiracy theories about whether someone else was responsible. Today, the cousin of a now deceased police officer says that in a deathbed declaration letter, Officer Ray Wood claimed his job was to infiltrate civil rights organizations and encourage leaders and members to commit felonies. He also claimed he was ordered to have Malcolm X's security detail arrested days before his assassination. Now Attorney Ben Crump is calling on the Manhattan DA to take action.
The question is, will they act to finally give restorative justice?
Any evidence that provides greater insight into the truth behind that terrible tragedy should be thoroughly investigated.
The NYPD said in a statement that the department has provided all available records to the Manhattan District Attorney. The DA says our office's review of this matter is active and ongoing. We have also reached out to the FBI for comment, but so far have not heard back.
Okay, so that was from CBS News, and that ties into the release of this new information. Okay, now I want to look at something here. BlackAmericaWeb.com has this article: Malcolm X family demands reopening of his murder investigation. Alleges NYPD and FBI played a role. All right. They say in light of so there's a statement from the New York City Police Department. And they say in light of this latest development, the NYPD released a statement Saturday saying several months ago, and we're going to try to pull this article up also, several months ago, the Manhattan District Attorney initiated a review of the investigation and prosecution that resulted in 2 convictions for the murder of Malcolm X. That resulted in 2 convictions for the murder of Malcolm X. The NYPD has provided all available records relevant to that case to the district attorney. The department remains committed to assist with the review in any way. Okay. The FBI has yet to comment, but the DA's office, district attorney's office, said the review of this matter is active and ongoing. All right. So the Malcolm X's family is adamant that this letter should be explored further. And you heard Yasser Shabazz say any evidence that provides greater insight into the truth behind the terrible tragedy should be thoroughly investigated. Okay. So we're going to post the link here to the article. I'm going to pull it up here from blackamericaweb.com. This is from February 22nd, 2021. Check this one out also. Now, in this article, one of the things that caught my eye is they have the actual letter. They show you the actual letter, the deathbed confession. Okay. So you get to see that and you get to actually read it, because I read excerpts of it in different news reports, but you get to see the actual letter. Okay, so we'll pull that up and show you that one as well. So blackamericaweb.com has this article. Let's go to this here. That's another very good news source for African American oriented news. So let's pull this up. Okay. So Malcolm, let's shrink this down. Malcolm X family demands reopening of his murder investigation alleges NYPD played a role. So if we scroll down here and close this out here, I'm going to scroll down. Okay, so you see the statement here from the NYPD. Several months ago, the Manhattan District Attorney initiated a review of the investigation and prosecution that resulted in 2 convictions for the murder of Malcolm. Okay, so we have that. But also, there's a tweet here from Alex Tiffin, and it has the actual letter here. And what we're going to try to do is see if we can pull that up and blow that up. Okay. So it's on his Twitter page. So let's go over to Twitter. And when you click on that link, you can actually read it. And it's signed Raymond Wood. Okay, so you can read it in its entirety. All right. So check that out also. We'll post a link here to this article because that was the first time I actually got to see the actual letter. Okay, the deathbed confession. But we went in depth into this on our Sunday show. This talk, and one of the things that they talked about was the fact that Ray Wood would one of the things they talked about was that Ray Wood's job was to try to instigate members of different African-American organizations, civil rights organizations, to commit crimes so that they could then be arrested. Okay. So you see this type of infiltration, and then once you arrest them for trying to commit acts of violence and things like that, then they try to label the entire organization as being violent. Okay. Also check out the article from blackpressusa.com written by Stacy, I think this is Stacy Brown for Black Press USA. Stacy Brown for Black Press USA. There's a good article from Black Press USA about this as well. Without any training, Ray Wood's job was to infiltrate civil rights organizations and encourage leaders and members to commit felonious acts, Attorney Benjamin Crump noted in a news release before the gathering. He was also tasked with ensuring that Malcolm X's security detail was arrested days prior to the assassination, guaranteeing Malcolm X did not have door security while at the Audubon Ballroom. Okay. And I think we have that one. We have that article up. So let's pull that one up here also. So I want you to see this as well. And go read all these articles that I give you. Proper documentation ends all conversation. You don't have to believe a word that I say. Go research this yourself. Okay, so Attorney Ben Crump and daughters, Malcolm X and daughters of Malcolm X reveal NYPD officer's deathbed confession of NYPD FBI conspiracy. And okay, you see them here at the press conference from Saturday, February 20th, 2021. If we scroll down here, okay, at the time confessed, without training, his job was to infiltrate civil rights organizations and encourage leaders and members to commit felonious acts. Now, he was coerced, Ray Wood was coerced to do this, and he said if he refused, then he was told that he would be brought up on trumped up charges dealing with selling drugs or some nonsense like this. He was also tasked with ensuring that Malcolm X's security detail was arrested days prior to the assassination, guaranteeing Malcolm X did not have door security while at the Audubon Ballroom where he was killed February 21st, 1965. Okay, so read this article as well from Black Press USA, which is an African American news wire. Black Press USA is an African American news wire. The website is blackpressusa.com. All right, let's go to this. Next story here. How's everybody doing? Okay. Who still needs to register for my online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school? We're going to post a link here. Our guest speaker for our Tuesday, February 23rd class will be Dr. David Imhotep, author of the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. So it's an 8-week, 16-hour online course. We deal with thousands of years of history and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. All this, we do the sessions live. They're all recorded. You can go back and watch them over and over again also. Okay. You can watch from around the world. As soon as you register, you can watch last Tuesday's class when our guest speaker was cultural anthropologist, Sister Nubia Wartford. And we talked about the origins of ancient Kush and the African queens of antiquity. So we just posted the link here. It's also at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. right on the homepage. Okay, let's go to this next story here. Let's squeeze this clip in. Shakita, daughters of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X reflect on fight for equality. All right. So they talk about how what it's like being the daughters of civil rights and icons, and the expectations that the insurmountable expectations that they had to live up to. Let's go to this clip. This is from MSNBC. So the daughters of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X call themselves sister friends, joined by their father's legacies. So MSNBC's Tremaine Lee spoke with the pair about their unique bond, racism in America, and the fight for justice in America today. Do we have the clip? Okay, so we'll just press play and take it off of mute.
Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X have been described as the sword and the shield. Freedom fighters whose styles were very different, but whose goals were largely the same. Malcolm and Martin, forever linked, their legacies, their movements, and their families. Today, two daughters of these American icons sit for a conversation on what it means to inherit the struggle for equality in America today.
But for me, we have just this really, I love her so much. They became like my extended family of sisters.
Bernice King and Eliasa Shabazz call themselves sister friends. They've literally inherited their father's legacies, which at times can be a lonely birthright.
Yeah. Who do you talk to when your father normally has a holiday? We're the only one living, first generation, whose father has the memorial in the nation's capital.
Was there a moment when it dawned on you, like, my father is Malcolm X? Malcolm X? Think of Malcolm X that we...
Yes, it did. It's funny, when I went to college, people were chasing me on campus. Are you Malcolm X's daughter? I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And trying to understand what that meant. I saw that people had these enormous expectations of who they thought I should be.
Instead of the so-called Negro man continuing to watch his churches being bombed and his little girls being murdered, it's time for the so-called Negro man to take a stand.
But you've also literally inherited pieces of this struggle through your father, right, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I wonder how, over the years, you've managed that.
It looms large.
Justice rolls down like water.
This legacy is humongous. I mean, when you come from parents that are still impacting the world 52, going on 53 years, for my dad after his assassination, you can feel overwhelmed and almost you could fall into depression because everyone wants to do as well or exceed their parents. That's impossible.
I don't think violence solves any social problem. It only creates new and more complicated problems. I think it is also necessary to say that the assassination of Malcolm X was an unfortunate tragedy.
Instead of trying to change the white man in your mind and make you accept us, we change the mind of the black man and make him accept himself.
How do you reckon that people often want to pit Dr. King and Malcolm X against each other, like there's some sort of East Coast, West Coast rivalry or something?
That's right. It's just this divisiveness. We learn about Thomas Jefferson. We learn about Abraham Lincoln. We learn about the contributions that they made to our society. But when we learn about, Black, indigenous people of color, it's always this divisiveness. You choose one over the other. It was the same thing with Malcolm X and Dr. King.
Oh, all right. Pause it right there, Shakita. Pause it right there. Okay. Those watching on Facebook and YouTube, keep watching. We're going to keep broadcasting. We're out of time here on the Anthony on the Superstation WFDF. Be sure to register for my online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Next class is Tuesday, February 23rd, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. Stay tuned for Pastor Greg Davis. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. Okay, stand by. We're going to keep going here. We're going to finish the rest of this clip. We'll be here for a few more minutes here. Let me pull this clip up. Let me pull this up here from MSNBC. Okay. All right, how's everybody doing? Share this broadcast on your social media platforms. We'll still talk about Supreme Court and Donald Trump. Supreme Court is not going to stand in the way of the release of Trump's tax returns to New York prosecutor Cyrus Vance. So that's good news. And we'll talk about the story of a business school in the UK that is seeking to remove the blackamoors crest. The blackamoors crest. And you can see the legacy and the history of the Moors in the architecture, in the artwork, things like this in Europe. Okay, the legacy is still there. All right, let's go back to this clip here. Dealing with the daughters of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X reflect on fight for equality.
Indigenous people of color, it's always this divisiveness. You choose one over the other. It was the same thing with Malcolm X and Dr. King. Instead of recognizing, these facts, that they made significant sacrifices and enormous contributions to our society. We will not go away until we see change.
As today's freedom movements shake America to its core, these women continue their families' work with Black liberation on their minds and unity in their spirits.
It's going to require consistency, persistency, and not taken for granted because our person is in the White House, because we do that a lot. Well, our person won. We got to lay back. And we cannot let the Messiah complex take over. We got our Messiah now. So we're looking for them to save us. No, we all have to have hands on deck.
I always say that, it's not our responsibility to do this, right? It's not just our responsibility. It's all of our responsibility.
How do you strategize and push in a way where you have so-called allies now? Your father talked famously about white liberals, right? Here we are in this moment. What strategy needs to happen to make sure we're pushing them in the right direction in terms of ultimate Black freedom and liberation?
He said the nettlesome task is to organize our strength into compelling power. That's going to be key to progress, because the more organized we are with an agenda that everybody can rally around instead of these competing agendas, I think that's what kind of undermines the efforts. So that's what I'm hoping will happen, because you're right. We have an open door, I believe, window of time
And I think instead of slowing up, we must push at this point, and we must continue to move on. And I'm convinced that our moving on will not only help the Negro cause, so to speak, but the cause of the whole of America.
But we must keep moving. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving.
MSNBC correspondent Tremaine Lee and host of the NBC News podcast Into America is here now. Tremaine, what a birthright, what a responsibility to inherit. What else did these two women tell you about carrying on their father's fight today?
Thanks as always for having me, Allison. This was a really interesting conversation for me to have. I look up to Malcolm X and Martin Luther King equally in some ways. But I think there is a measure of both pride, but also great pressure, right? On one hand, they are proud of the legacy that their fathers, but also their mothers. Betty Shabazz and Coretta Scott King were also side by side with their husbands, but also the pressure to keep pushing, right? And how do you fulfill the dreams or the goals of their luminary, legendary giant fathers in a new day and age? But again, they don't shy away at all from living in this legacy and trying the best they can to keep pushing. Again, it comes with a lot of pressure, though.
Unbelievably so. I got such a kick when Malcolm X's daughter was describing what it was like to go to college and people chasing her around campus asking who she was. Tremaine, another absolutely fascinating conversation. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Okay, so that's from NBC News Now, their streaming service, NBC News Now, but it's at NBCnews.com. Daughters of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X reflect on fight for equality. And they also aired that segment on MSNBC. So that's from February 22nd, 2021, February 22nd, 2021. It's important, and I'll mention this book once again. This book right here, Martin, Malcolm in America, Dream or Nightmare. Now, I may have a different cover because I got this book back in 94. I've got this book back in January 94. Martin, Malcolm in America, A Dream or Nightmare by James H. Cone. James H. Cone was known as the father of Black liberation theology. And the series from Dr. Henry Louis Gates Jr. dealing with the Black Church, the two-part series that aired on PBS, James H. Cone is talked about in that series. And this book shows how the ideologies of Malcolm X and Dr. King were converging toward the end of both of their lives and how they were sounding like each other. And Malcolm, one of the things Malcolm was calling for, even when he was still in the Nation of Islam, was July 31st, 1963, the month before the March on Washington. He sent a letter to the civil rights leaders, the big six civil rights leaders, requesting a meeting with them in Harlem. And he said he was calling for unity. And he said we have to find a common solution to a common problem posed by a common enemy. And he was calling for unity among the civil rights leaders and amongst their followers as well. Okay. So, and then when he leaves the nation, he's calling for unity as well. So we really have to study both Dr. King and Malcolm X and read Dr. King's books also. His most important book, it's probably his last one, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community? Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community? Which he wrote in late 1967. Okay, let's continue. So, and then we'll talk some more about Malcolm tomorrow. I'll share an excerpt from the Battle of the Bullet. I did a post February 21st about this, and in the Battle of the Bullet, he talks about wearing turbans. And there was a period of time where African Americans wore turbans to navigate throughout Jim Crow laws. Okay. But we'll talk about that on Tuesday's show. Okay. Let's get to this story here dealing with Donald Trump and his taxes. So the ruling came down from the U.S. Supreme Court today that all the stalling is over with, and Donald Trump, his taxes have to be released to the prosecutor there in Manhattan, Cyrus Vance. There's an article also from NBC News dealing with this. All outlets have this. We posted an article from CNN that got 2,000 likes last time I checked, and a lot of people were laughing. This is the chickens coming home to roost. That's what this is. This is the chickens coming home to roost. But there's an article also from NBC News. Supreme Court won't stop grand jury from getting Trump's tax returns. Supreme Court won't stop grand jury from getting Trump's tax returns. Okay. And this is from Monday, February 22nd, 2021. So the Supreme Court declined on Monday to block a New York grand jury from getting former President Donald Trump's personal and corporate tax returns. These are his personal and corporate tax returns. He's in a world of trouble, and he knows it. I wonder, does he still have his passports? Well, I think maybe he does. I think he still has his passports because he hasn't been indicted or anything yet. So is that one of he's just going to disappear? Okay, he's going to do a Ted Cruz and go down to Cancun and not come back. So the Supreme Court declined Monday to block a New York grand jury from getting former President Donald Trump's personal and corporate tax returns, a decisive defeat in his long legal battle to keep his tax records out of investigators' hands. The ruling doesn't mean the returns will become public anytime soon, and they might never be publicly released. Under New York state law, materials turned over to a grand jury must be kept secret. But Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance can now require Trump's accountants to turn over the records that Trump has steadfastly refused to surrender to prosecutors or Congress. When asked for a response to the ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court, Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance said, the work continues. The work continues. Let's go to this clip here from MSNBC. Stephanie Rule talked about this today. Well, we got to cue that back up. Stephanie Rule talked about this today on MSNBC. And she spoke with Pete Williams, MSNBC, NBC's Pete Williams about this. Let's go to this clip. Just a second here.
The U.S. Supreme Court, dip back into that in a moment, but we've got other breaking news out of Washington, D.C. The U.S. Supreme Court declining to block a New York grand jury from getting President Trump's personal and corporate tax returns. Pete Williams has the latest. Pete, explain this. Former President Trump's team has been trying to prevent this grand jury from seeing his taxes, and the Supreme Court said, sorry, Charlie, not going to happen?
Exactly right. You may remember earlier this year, the court said the president wasn't immune from the grand jury's investigative powers. So he went back to court a second time arguing, okay, well, in this case, I'm saying the subpoena is overbroad. And today the Supreme Court said it would not hear his appeal of two lower court decisions that rejected that. So two things about this. Number one, obviously bad news for the president, who has fought tooth and nail to try to keep these tax returns away from the prosecutors led by Cy Vance, the Manhattan District Attorney. The second thing is it doesn't mean that the tax returns are going to become public anytime soon. They may never become public unless Vance uses them as evidence and brings charges. So it's bad news for the president. His accountants now must turn over 8 years of tax documents to this grand jury that's investigating the hush money payments and other aspects of the Trump organization's finances. In response to the Supreme Court's order today, by the way, it was a brief, unsigned order, just one line. Cy Vance said simply, the work continues. And by the way, we've been waiting for the Supreme Court to decide what to do here since last October. That's when the Trump emergency appeal was filed to the Supreme Court. And my guess was the court didn't want to get involved during the election campaign and then didn't want to get involved in all the legal controversy after the election and then didn't want to get involved in the impeachment issue. But now that the coast is clear, the Supreme Court's order has come out. a brief one-line order saying simply it was referred to the Circuit Justice, Stephen Breyer, and denied.
Then what's the timing? If Cy Vance says the work continues, when will that grand jury see those taxes?
Almost immediately. The accountants. This is it. This is the end of the road for the president's lawyers to appeal here. The accountants for the president have always said they'll abide by whatever the courts say, and this has all been set to go, sort of in the starting blocks. Even though Vance's team had won in the lower courts, Vance agreed to hold off on any demand for these documents until the Supreme Court has handled this case. You can bet that is all ready to go. All you have to do is turn the key. Those demands will go to the accountants. The accountants are ready to turn it over. So I suspect this will be a matter of days.
So they're going to see it immediately. Can you give us more insight into what that means after that?
Well, the grand jury is going to have to decide whether these two new puzzle parts, if you will, they'll look at his taxes from the accountants, add to their knowledge of the Trump organization and whether that constitutes a crime. And Vance will have to decide whether to bring charges or not. But we know that this grand jury has continued to work. They've brought in new forensic accountants. Their work seems to be growing. The topics that they're looking at seems to be growing as well. They've said very little about this because of grand jury secrecy. But we know that it's expanded beyond simply the statements. Remember the genesis of all this. It was Michael Cohen's testimony before the Senate that the president wasn't truthful in stating his assets, that sometimes he would overstate them when he was trying to get loans, and sometimes he would understate them when he was trying to avoid taxes. That's sort of what got this started, and then the hush money payments as well, but it's gone beyond that. It's gone beyond those payments. It's gone beyond that treatment. It's looking at a much broader look at the Trump organization.
And as a reminder, the president's former fixer, Michael Cohen, was interviewed again last week. Pete, thank you.
Okay, so that's from MSNBC, Stephanie Rule with Pete Williams. Okay, so check that out. The name of that clip is Trump loses Supreme Court appeal on personal corporate tax returns. Trump loses Supreme Court appeal on personal corporate tax returns. Okay, we'll post the link here for that clip also. All right, I want to go to this next story here. So I saw this story on Facebook. It's from MSN.com. And it deals with a business school in the UK that has decided to remove the crest of the blackamoor crest. Okay, and this crest has 4 heads of Africans who were slaves, and you're going to see this when you study history of European history. You're going to see this. This is pretty common. Okay, so MSN.com picked this up from the Telegraph, which is a UK publication. And let me pull this up here. So, business school seeks to remove blackamoor's crest. Business school seeks to remove blackamoor's crest. This is from Saturday, February 20th, 2021. A business school is planning to remove a coat of arms depicting 4 black slaves from its historic premises, claiming only the property's historic owners, who were friendly with the Duke of Windsor and Oswald Mosley, would find it tasteful. Okay, so let's look at this, and we see the crest here. This coat of arms at Reed Business School. Now, William Juxon, Juxon, who was the Archbishop of Canterbury in the 17th century, first installed the crest at the manor house in the Cotswolds village of Little Compton, depicting 4 blackamoors, believed to be a reference to his family's wealth in trading in West Africa. Okay, so they were trading slaves in West Africa, Africans. They were trading Africans in West Africa. So the grade 2 listed property has since changed hands several times and was owned by socialites in the 1930s who hosted gatherings with Mosley, the former leader of the British Union of Fascists, and the Duke of Windsor, who met Adolf Hitler before the Second World War and was suspected of having fascist sympathies. Now, Major Edward Fruity McCaff, now I don't know why his nickname is Fruity. I don't know what's up with that, but may have been a different time and that meant something else. But Major Edward Fruity McCaff, equerry to the Duke and friend of Mosley, owned the house and was married to Diana Mitford, whose brother-in-law was Mosley. Now documents submitted to Stratford upon Avon District Council by the manor's current occupiers, Reed Business School, REED, Reed Business School, outline plans to take down the centuries-old crest emblazoned above a doorway and find a suitable home for the piece. The application says the school wanted to be more inclusive. The letter reads, due to the Black Lives Matter movement, we have decided to review 2 coats of arms which are present on the building. They are both the Judson coat of arms, which depict 4 black slaves. It goes on to say, given the political leanings of the Mitfords and Edward VIII, I expect that they found the coat of arms above the fireplace to be considerably more tasteful than I do. The name of the author of the letter is blanked out. So you can't see the name of the author of the letter. Now, the college founded by employment agency entrepreneur Sir Alec Reed has applied to remove 2 crests with planning documents claiming some students were sufficiently offended that they used tip X to remove the black coloring from the slaves. Now, James Reed, Sir Alec's son and current CEO of the Reed Business School, explained, quote, there were some pretty unpleasant views in the 1930s that were widely prevalent, shall we say. I don't know what their motivation was, but it seems very inappropriate now. It might not have done so then. It's a business school and people from all backgrounds attend. He went on to say, if you were to go somewhere called the Reed Business School and be confronted by 4 blackheads on a coat of arms, you might wonder what was going on. Well, I know what was going on because it was when you see the coat of arms, and if you read Golden Age of the Moor, they talk about this in there. If you read Golden Age of the Moor, they talk about this in there. And this is something that I deal with in the online class as well, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. This is all connected because when you look at the national flags of Corsica and Sardinia, they have African Moors heads on their national flags, okay? And it's because the Moors were in these areas, and it took a monumental effort to conquer them. And then many of these Moors are going to be enslaved also. Okay, so we see this with the coat of arms, and some of these European families had African ancestry in their bloodline. Okay, so on their family crest, they may have an African Moor's head there because that's one of their ancestors. Because you have and see, like I said, the Moors go all throughout Europe, and they're changing the complexion of Europeans to various extents because they're intermixing into the European population. Okay, so William Judson was Archbishop of Canterbury from 1660 to 1663, famous for giving Charles I his last rites, and according to planning documents was fairly implicated in the growth of the British slave trade due to his political offices and family connections, Okay, so this ties into the history of the Moors in Europe. This ties into the transatlantic slave trade. Here's a picture of the Reed Business School. Okay, now his crest remains in its original form above a garden door at the manor, and as a plaster version found to be more offensive due to its full color and position above the main hall's fireplace. Okay, so it's in full color. You can see that these are the heads of Africans. Now, it may have been restored. It may have been restored after a fire with the addition of white masters looking over the slaves. It may have been restored after a fire with the addition of, quote, white masters looking over the slaves, end quote, during the 1930s when the house was bought by Sir Edward. Now, Mr. Reed said staff at the nonprofit business school, quote, care greatly about the building and the history of it, end quote, but also take inclusion and well-being very seriously. Now, while plans have been submitted, it is understood the school board will make the final decision on action taken over the two crests. Historic England has not yet consulted on the removal of the crest, which may have to remain in place under new Ministry of Housing, Communities, and Local Government directives to retain and explain controversial monuments. Okay, so this is an example of history in the headlines and dealing with this crest on the Reed Business School, okay, of African Moors heads or blackamoors. Now, if we look at this here, 4 Moors heads, right? If we look at this and then let's switch over and look at the national flags of Corsica and Sardinia. This is something I deal with in the class, and I've talked about this in a lot of my lectures before also. So the Moors were in these areas, Corsica and Sardinia as well. Okay. And it took a monumental effort to conquer them. So you're going to see them oftentimes on flags or family crest or what have you. Now, originally, these were, so if you look at it, you see that they have bandanas on, okay? So with the flag with the blue background, that is the national flag of Corsica, which is an island in the Mediterranean, all right? And then you look at the, that's a French island in the Mediterranean, and then the one with the 4 Moors heads, that is the national flag of Sardinia, which is an Italian island in the Mediterranean. So you see that they're wearing the hoop earrings, at least the one for Corsica, the hoop earrings, which you would see depicted in the Joie de Piet, Black Pete, and the parade that takes place, the festivals that take place in Holland, dealing with Black Pete, who was the sidekick to Father Christmas or Sinterklaas. And Sinterklaas is Dutch for Saint Nicholas, and Sinterklaas becomes that religious figure. Sinterklaas becomes transformed into Santa Claus here in the U.S. And then we see the four Moors heads here from Sardinia. So originally, the bandana was a blindfold to signify that they had been captured and they were prisoners. But because of being politically correct and because of tourism and things like this, they changed the blindfolds to bandanas. Now, I found out about this first from Runoko Rashidi's book, Black Star, the African Presence in Early Europe. Okay, and these are two books that I use as reference in the online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, where they didn't teach you in school. And on page 91 of his book, you see this is the national flag of Sardinia with the Moors heads. And he shows you like the different crests with the African Moors heads on them, like coat of arms of Pope Benedict XVI with the head of a Moorish king. So he shows you all of this. Okay. Now, in doing research, so when Runoko's book came out, and I got this back in 2011, I interviewed him about this book, and I was reading it and doing research on it to prepare for my interview with him. So I went to Sardinia's, Corsica. Sardinia. I went to Sardinia's official website, and on every page of their website, like in the upper right-hand corner, something like that, they had the four Moors heads, and it's their national flag. But when you looked at it, it looked like it was just a decal or something like that. But when you zoomed in on it, you saw it was the four Moors heads. Okay. Now, Sardinia is the second largest island in the Mediterranean, Sea, and an autonomous region of Italy. Tourism in Sardinia is one of the fastest growing sectors of the regional economy. And let me see if I can find the official website here. I see one, Total Sardinia. I'm not sure if that was it. It was Sardinia Turismo. It was something like that. Sardinia Turismo was the website, something like that. Sardinia Turismo. But I'll see if I can try to pull it up. Let's see here. Provinces. May not be able to get to it. Well, let's see here. What is this? Oh, yeah, this is it right here. Sardegna Turismo. Okay. So let's see. Let's look at this. And let's see if they still have it up. I haven't been to this website in years. Organize your trip. Let's see. We have here. So let's look at the website. So this is Sardegna Turismo, and see the Island of Giants. I was trying to see if they had the traveling safely, how to get around, healthcare, things to do, places to see, learn about Sardinia. I was trying to see if they still had it up here. But if you go through, look here, you're probably going to see the presence of the Moor somewhere in here. Let me see if I can find this right quick. Oh, yep, here it is. They put it down at the bottom of the page. Hold on, let me show you. If you didn't know what you were looking for, you wouldn't know it. It's right here. It's right here at the bottom of the page. Let's look at this. Let's zoom in on this. Right here. It's a Moor's head. Those are 4 Moor's heads. That's their flag. It's right there. If you pull this up on your, I can't zoom in anymore on it. Oh, yes, we can. Here we go. Ooh, and they show them with they have a blindfold on. Oh, that's why it's so small. Look at this. That's not a bandana. That's not a bandana. That's a blindfold. They're showing the Africans as being captured. That's why they put it down at the bottom of the page, so they hope nobody would see it. You'll see this? Those are African Moors heads with blindfolds on. Okay, so when go look at this website. Okay, that's not a bandana. The bandana's up here on the forehead. That's over the eyes. That signifies that they're captured and prisoners. Now, let's look at this here. Let's flip back over and look at the slide, because I put this slide together a few years ago, probably about 2014 when I was doing my research, because the Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school, that started out as a 4-hour lecture, which is about 7 years of research that I compiled. Okay, so this is the national, so we see the 4 Moors heads. This is the national flag of Sardinia, and we see them with a bandana on. It's up on their forehead. But when you look at what they have on the website, right, they're showing them as prisoners. They're showing them with a blindfold on. That's not a bandana. Let's see if we can zoom back in. Let's see if it won't get any larger. But look, go look at this yourself, okay? We'll post the link here. All right. So a lot of times, you see, so we have to understand how to decode these symbols, right? This is why I showed you a symbols encyclopedia that I have. This one here. This is why I showed you a symbols encyclopedia. We have to understand how to decode symbols, and the symbols tie into history. Okay, so that what they have on their website. This is Signs and Symbols, an illustrated guide to the origins and meanings. That ties into the history of the Moors, legacy of the Moors, who had taken the teachings from ancient Africa into Europe, and then it took a monumental effort to conquer them. Many of them were conquered and enslaved. Okay, so they're showing them as captured prisoners with blindfolds on. Oh man. All right. So yeah, it's at the bottom of the page. No wonder they put it at the bottom of the page. See, when I was doing research on this a few years ago, it was in the upper right hand corner on every page, but it showed them with the bandana on. Okay, so they're going back to their ways, it looks like. All right. So check that out. We'll post the link here again to register for the online courses. Regularly $130, on sale $80. And all the sessions, we do the sessions live on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and they're all recorded. So you can go back and watch them over and over again. Our guest speaker Tuesday, February 23rd, is going to be Dr. David Imhotep, author of the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. Okay, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. And then when you register, you can watch last week's class when I had cultural anthropologist Sister Nubia Wardford on. Okay. All right. So, and then read this article here. Business school seeks to remove blackamoors crest. All right, let's continue. Last story. This is dealing with the $1.9 trillion coronavirus bill. And we know that the U.S. has hit 500,000 deaths, coronavirus deaths. So that happened this past weekend. So we know that President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris participated in a ceremony marking the grim milestone. The U.S. just surpassed 500,000 coronavirus deaths. And also earlier today, there was a press conference. Well, there was an address that Biden gave. He didn't take any questions. And he talked about the Paycheck Protection Program. This is changes to the Paycheck Protection Program. Biden announced a major change to the Paycheck Protection Program to exclusively allow only small businesses with 20 or fewer employees to apply for relief loans for a 2-week period beginning Wednesday. Okay, only small businesses with 20 or fewer employees. And what this does is this helps to target more African-American owned businesses. Okay, now you have to apply to get the money. Your paperwork still has to be in order, but they're making in this round of paycheck protection, they're making strides to be able to get the funds to more African-American owned businesses. Let's go to this. Let's go to this clip here. Small businesses with under 20 employees to have 14-day window to apply for loans. This is during Joe Biden's press conference. He didn't take any questions, but they call it a press conference. Let's go to this.
As I explained to Pilar and Tim, the two small business people I spoke to, on Wednesday, the Small Business Administration is going to establish a 14-day exclusive PPP loan application period for businesses and nonprofits with fewer than 20 employees. People can go out and find how to get a hold of these loans. People can find out more at the SBA.gov. Small Business Administration will also remove barriers that have stopped many businesses from being able to apply for these loans. For example, we're making it so that a student loan default or a non-fraud related criminal record does not prohibit someone from applying for the program. We're also making it easier for those one-person businesses like the home repair contractors, beauticians, small independent retailers to secure forgivable PPP loans. At the same time, we're increasing access by increasing oversight. I invite any inspector general in this program with jurisdiction over this program to closely look at these loans and publicly report on any issues they uncover inconsistent with what I'm saying today. We will ensure every dollar is spent well. These changes will bring much needed, long overdue to help to small businesses who really need help staying open, maintaining jobs, and making ends meet. And this is a starting point, not the ending point. We need Congress to pass my American Rescue Plan. It deals with the immediate crisis facing our small businesses. Now, critics say the plan is too big. Let me ask them a rhetorical question. What would you have me cut? What would you leave out? The American Rescue Plan targets $50 billion to support the hardest hit small businesses after this program expires at the end of March.
Okay, so check that out from MSNBC. Okay, that clip is Biden, small businesses with under 20 employees to have 14-day window to apply for loans. Okay, that's at MSNBC.com. And then they also have a good article at NBC.com, NBCnews.com. Biden announces changes in loan program aimed at aiding small and minority-owned businesses, So we'll post this link here to the article. You'll hear more about this as well. This is a big opportunity for African-American owned businesses to take advantage. Okay. But but your paperwork has to be in order and you actually have to apply. Okay, you can't just sit back and just wait for the money to pop up in your account. You actually have to apply for it. And then some people would say, well, why can't they just make the money for black-owned businesses? Well, because based upon the 1964 Civil Rights Act, it's illegal to discriminate based upon race. You can't have funds just for African Americans, but you can have it for, you can say, for minority-owned businesses. Or you can also target it based upon size of business, 20 employees or less, which is going to hit like 95% of African American owned businesses. But the other thing is, we should focus on being the majority of the quote unquote minorities that apply and get the money, as opposed to saying, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? If they have the money set aside, we should be focusing on being the majority of the quote unquote minorities applying and getting the money. If you actually want to accomplish something. So I'll just got that article as well from NBCnews.com. We'll pull this up here on the screen share. Because some people don't want to accomplish anything. They just want to complain. Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? Some people don't want to accomplish anything. They just want to complain. Biden announces changes in loan program aimed at aiding small and minority-owned businesses. Biden had previously criticized the loan program for having helped larger businesses with existing banking relationships, while many smaller businesses struggled to get relief. All right, and that is from February 22nd, 2021 by Shannon Pettypiece for NBC News. Okay, so we posted the link there for our online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Also, if you visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, right on the homepage, you'll see, when you scroll down, you'll see the information for my radio show, Monday through Fridays, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight, Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. You can click here to listen to audio podcasts. I'll be uploading some audio podcasts because I upload yesterday's show. We have 1,000 audio podcasts on Blog Talk Radio, and then they have hundreds on other platforms, iHeartRadio, Castbox, FM Player, TuneIn. You click here to read articles that I've written. Here's information about the online course. Okay, and next class February 23rd. Click right here, register here. 16-hour online course. Click here to enroll. So it's on sale, $80, regularly $130. As soon as you register, you can watch last week's class, and there's also bonus content that you can watch as well. When you on our website, we also have the 15 DVD bundle pack, the Michael Imhotep Black History Month 15 DVD bundle pack. We have the information about the panel discussion that I'm on for Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Wednesday, February 24th, 2021, at Black History Month. The Black History Month virtual, Let's Celebrate Black History Month virtual celebration. I'm on the panel. There I am. So the Zetas are our sisters. I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. This is the Zeta. This is the Lambda Rho Zeta chapter, Pontiac, Michigan, organizing this. So this is Wednesday, February 24th, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. is free event. Okay. Sister Marnice Jackson invited me to be on this panel. Click right here for register here. Takes you to the next page and you can register. It's going to be on Zoom. It's free to attend. So everybody register for that also. They need people to register. Okay, and then when you scroll down, we have the information about the my 15 DVD bundle pack, Black History Month 15 DVD bundle pack. So these are 15 of my lectures dealing with different topics, dealing with African history, African American history. 3 of them deal with the film Black Panther. Because I've done a lot of research on the film Black Panther and show how the film Black Panther relates. That's not loading properly. Show how the film Black Panther relates to African history and culture and language and things like that. We have this one here deals with the history of African American History Month. It's a 3-hour presentation. So I do with Dr. Carter G. Woodson, et cetera. So there's a lot of information in there to keep you busy. It's on sale $100. Is a Michael Imhotep 15 DVD bundle pack. Black History Month 15 DVD bundle pack. That's at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We'll also post a link here as well. Okay. Why isn't that loading properly? All right, so we'll post this information here. And if you want to support the African History Network also, you can do so. $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, or through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. Through Cash App, when you type in $ the AHN Show, it says Michael, and it has my picture there. Because somebody set up a fake African History Network Cash App account, and it's not mine, and they use my logo. It's not mine. So I got to investigate that more. But, all right, we got to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow, and we'll see you in class 8 p.m. Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, talk to y'all later. Peace. Visit 4glossygirls.com. That's the number 4glossygirls.com, and follow them on Instagram at 4glossygirls. Digital Dandelions Technical Solutions works with businesses like yours to create an operations manual for your business, which is something many businesses don't have. According to AARP, more than 30% of small business owners are over 50 years old. Many business owners want to retire by selling their businesses or by passing their businesses on to their children. However, according to Forbes Investment Advisors, many retiring owners' attempts to sell their businesses for retirement fail. You cannot sell your business without a business manual. Your children also cannot inherit your business because there is no way to run it. Your business does not have to die when you leave. Their business Bible products will give you the tools you need for a thriving business that can make you money even after you retire. Are you looking at increasing your business's annual revenue? Digital Dandelions can help you make at least $100,000 in annual revenue and expand your business. Speak with them today about solidifying your business. Visit digitaldandelions.com today and get a free 30-minute consultation.
We all know the cannabis industry is headed toward an uprise in the past decade. What happens when there is a brand that brings this uprise in a blow? The cannabis industry welcomes her uprise. Hustle her hemp. Delivering excellence with pride is her watchword, and how you choose to embrace it makes it a priority. From cultivating rich cannabis into exquisite and tastefully finished CBD products to delivery, Hustle Her Hemp leaves no stone unturned. Hustle Her Hemp's mission is to empower women of color by building business and creating legacies, uniting beauty, health, and business. We are a pure definition of how we want the CBD industry to become in the future. While we are redefining innovation, we bring the same energy to improving the quality of life. Hustle Her Hemp is the new uprise.
Black Bees products are a collection of natural, organic, personal care products with an appreciation of nature and bees. Our philosophy is without bees, we have nothing. We are honoring our Nile Valley ancestors who understood the importance of bees. Black Bees created a high-quality, natural, organic personal care line that would be affordable to everyone. We hope you try and enjoy our Black Bees products line and come back and visit us at blackbeesproducts.com.
With blackbusinesstee.com, the messages are clear and meaningful. Keep your business in the black and out of the red. Mind your black business, know your numbers, and plan strategically. Black Business Boss, lead your industry. Support black business, encourage, patronize, and uplift one another. blackbusinesstee.com currently has products sold in Detroit, Atlanta, Chicago, and Los Angeles, with proceeds returned to the black community. They have a wide selection of hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, hats, sweatshirts that support black-owned businesses. Visit the website blackbusinesstee.com. That's blackbusinesstee.com. Soul Natural Beauty Products offers organic, plant-based skin and hair care products that will rejuvenate skin and naturally grow and thicken hair. Their whipped shea butter can heal or restore damaged skin cells to prevent hyperpigmentation and skin breakouts. All products are made with organic plant-based ingredients. Their maximum hair growth oil is fortified with organic herbal extracts and undeniably proves that Mother Nature knows best. It thickens, lengthens, softens, and conditions all types of hair. They even guarantee hair improvement within 90 days or a full refund. Their all-natural 24-hour deodorant leaves the body smelling fresh without sweating for up to 24 hours. It does not stain fabric, goes on smoothly, and has a refreshing lavender and frankincense aroma. It can be used by men, women, and even children. Place your order today at soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com. That's soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com, and follow them on Facebook at Soul Natural Beauty Products. Intuitive Design Clothing is an online accessory store that sells one-of-a-kind signature statement pieces for men and women. They also specialize in fashion consultations, closet organization, and decorating small spaces. Are you looking for a statement piece for a special affair, or would you like to add some select pieces to your ensemble of accessories? If you're looking for something different, definitely contact Kathy Norman, owner and CEO of Intuitive Design Clothing. Visit their website, intuitivedesignClothing.com. That's intuitivedesignClothing.com, and you can email her at info@intuitivedesignClothing.com. Intuitive Design Clothing is where every entrance is a grand entrance. Yaya Rule is a line of African print-inspired apparel catered to the black community. The pieces include t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, jackets, dresses, skirts, activewear, bags, and other accessories and home decor. This brand offers a revived way for men and women to wear their black pride and honor their African heritage anywhere at any time. This apparel line is for anyone, whether you are working in the corporate world, are an entrepreneur, or an artist. Their selection will allow you to casually let your pride shine or dress it up as wanted. It is for those who have already embraced African fabrics and for those who are just getting